the reason I think this is a good transition into Meghan Markle and Prince Harry is the following. They just completed this Australia tour. They are pretending to still be royals. They're not royals anymore. They had their Royal Highness titles stripped from them. Obviously, he's born a prince and he remains a prince. His dad is the King of England. She's a nothing glamour wannabe. But here's what's interesting to me. So they go on this sort of faux royal tour to Australia, and they pretend that they're still working royals. And they walk out on Bondi Beach, where we saw that terrible attack on Australian Jews. And they're sort of being adored by all these crowds following them. Then she had some seminar with like young women where she was like, oh, be your best self, that kind of stuff. And what I was laughing about watching this, Rob, is that they want us to believe that they're the only ones who can command this. They're like Prince William and Kate. Right. You know, they're just as royal, just as famous, and people want to see them. Now, you tell me, you in particular, given what you've been doing for your professional life, what celebrity, I mean, talking about like a legitimate celebrity out in Hollywood, could not garner this kind of a crowd and attract attention to walk with them on the beach or into an event if they asked for it?
Right.
Like literally all of them, even the B-listers, could easily get crowds to follow them and make it look like they are just sort of these world ambassadors. What this is showing us is not that they're these universally beloved people. It's that people really know Harry, have some affinity probably for the 12-year-old version of him, and certainly for his deceased mother, maybe some extent his brother and his father, but it's about celebrity and people being interested in it. It's just they're the only ones who do it.
Right.
No, there are not, for the most part, Hollywood celebrities who could gather a crowd who are this thirsty.
That's what it is. It's about being thirsty. And what I find so interesting about this is that the only thing that makes these two people interesting is the royal family. The one thing they're trying to run away from, the one thing that they say they want no part of, that's all they've got. We're not interested in them for any other reason. Kim Kardashian, you know, a celebrity that we roll our eyes at and we laugh at, but she has created this herself. And so these two were given this, they were given it, and now they're exploiting it, and at the same time saying they don't want to be part of it. So it is so confusing to me what they want here. I think I know what they want, which is they want this fabulous life part-time, and then they want to earn money the rest of their time. It was the thing that Queen Elizabeth said no to. They pitched being part-time royals, half in, half out, and Queen Elizabeth said, no, that's just not going to work for me. Well, what Harry and Meghan have now figured out, unfortunately, is they do not need the palace approval. He will always be Diana's son. He will always be Harry. People do have a feeling towards him as a little boy walking behind his mommy's coffin. We still all remember that. Her, not so much. But Harry is going to be somebody that we're always going to be interested in. And he's just figured out now that he doesn't need the royals family to be a part-time royal. He is a part-time royal. He will be now for the rest of his life. And so I'm told from my palace insiders is that they were really angry about this, that they don't want it, but now they're at the point where they're sort of like, let them. What can we do? Let them. They're going to do this again. They're going to repeat this Australia trip in different countries, probably Commonwealth countries, where there will be affection towards Harry and crowds will turn up. And then at the end of it, she'll sell you a pot of jam. But there's nothing the royals can do. You can't stop him from going to a hospital. You can't stop him from going to a women's shelter. And so I think, though, this is going to become boring. This is going to become old news really, really fast, because once again, the only thing that makes them interesting is the one thing that they are running away from, or at least say they're running away from.
So they keep breaking open the same act. She gets in front of this group of women who gather to celebrate her at $1,700 a pop, and decided to tell them how terrible her life was, how difficult her life has been. It's amazing how difficult her life has been. And she's traveling around with a Prince of England and going back to her multi-million-dollar Montecito mansion and, you know, touring on the beaches of Australia with throngs of people following her. But she's had it really rough, she wants you to know. And then Harry, you report, is potentially thinking about writing a self-help book. But Rob, we just discussed the other day on this program how he got up there and he talked about how he never wanted to be a working royal because it killed his mother, and went on to talk about how he is stressed out. He was in the fetal position and he's basically unable to function. Like he actually talked to the crowd about how difficult his life has been and how completely overwhelmed he's been. Like, these two, she can't get over some bad press she had. That's the terrible stuff that's happened to her. And he can't get over tragedy that has happened to him, but it was 30 years ago, Rob.
Right. He's somebody that has recently discovered therapy. And as a Brit, I can admit, the Brits are not good about this. They don't really talk about their feelings very much. And when I first came to America 30 years ago, I was absolutely shocked at how Americans would tell you all their secrets, which is good for me as a gossip columnist. But Harry has recently discovered therapy. And anybody that recently discovers something gets sort of intoxicated by it. We know he's an addictive personality. We know he's got issues in the past. And so my insiders tell me that this is where he sees his future. He very much enjoys talking about mental health. He's going to turn into one of those Mel Robbins type podcasters, self-help. Yes, Megyn. Yes. It's gonna be one of those things. I spoke to people in the publishing world. His last book sold really, really well. They'd love to do a second book with him. And I'm told it's gonna be one of those self-help Oprah type books about finding confidence. And Megyn.
Here's the irony, Rob. The people who spend their lives writing about this crap are the last people you should be listening to on how to change your life. People who are well-adjusted and know how to deal with their problems do not spend their time thinking about, this version of therapy and that version, and let me write a whole book about therapy. That's the last person you should be taking advice from. He's clearly miserable, Rob.
Right, he's clearly miserable. He has not got over. Move on. I think that's what life's about. We can't diminish the death of his mother, a traumatic experience, but the royal family did not kill her. A drunk driver killed her, and she turned down royal protection. So what he's fighting to get in Britain, his mother passed on. His mother didn't want that anymore. So it's not really accurate what he's saying about his mom. And I think William lost his mommy too. She wasn't just Harry's mom, and William seems to have dealt with it. And so there is a way. I would argue that sitting down and doing interviews, traveling to Australia and being paid to talk about your grief is not the best way to handle it, but it certainly is the Sussex way.
Oh, gosh. So then she goes, when she's over there, onto their version of MasterChef, because, she's trying to make herself into a Martha Stewart, literally stealing Martha Stewart's recipes. Maureen and I covered that on our parody we did of With Love. Megyn, it's the same recipe. She clearly stole it from Martha Stewart. But so that for this, she gets a guest appearance on MasterChef. Way to be complicit, MasterChef people. And she's reportedly very upset about this description of her when she walked out. And I'll tell you why. Here it is.
We've had MasterChef royalty in the kitchen before, but no one like this. All the way from sunny California, please welcome to MasterChef Australia, the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle!
Oh, my Lord. So the Daily Mail's reporting she's very upset that they called her royalty, Rob, because she's not supposed to be called. So I'm sure she was really torn up inside. By the way, they didn't even really call her royalty. They just said like royalty in the kitchen, like Master Chef royalty. The same way, you're Hollywood royalty. I'm journalism royalty, whatever. That, like, She's pretending like, and this is all bullshit. You and I both know she loved being called a royal. That's the whole reason she married Harry.
She loves it. I've covered Meghan for a really long time. That episode was taped. It wasn't live. She would have stopped them and retaped the introduction had they not called her royalty. The only reason she's on that show is her association with the royal family. They didn't hire her because she was on Suits when she was a Deal or No Deal girl. She wasn't on MasterChef. I don't resent MasterChef doing this. I've worked in TV, you know TV better than anybody. It's about ratings. That's all they care about. And having her on is going to get ratings, even if it's people watching it to hate it. And so that's what they're doing here. So I tip my hat to them. But Meghan playing a lot. It's almost like cosplay, isn't it? It's like they've dressed up and today we're going to put a crown on and a cape on, and tomorrow we can be nurses and doctors and we can be social workers the next day. It's all playing. It's all cosplay. And people know it.
She can't get the normal MasterChef to put her on. Like those two are, they are poison here in America. Never mind the UK where it's even worse. No one's going to put them on for ratings or otherwise. So like the public has turned on them. That's why they have to go to Australia for this. But she reportedly wanted to meet with Steve Irwin's family. You know, of course he died. He was the environmentalist guy who would take us all over the world with the animals. And they would not meet with her because they are reportedly staunch monarchists and fiercely loyal to Prince William and Princess Kate. And they knew that touching these two was absolutely a no-no. So they got the back of the hand. And then, you know what she is, Rob? She's a disaster tourist. She went to Uvalde after those poor children were killed in that school shooting. And then she went by Princess Diana's death site with her feet up on like the window, like famously playing with her feet, like where her mother-in-law was killed. And now she goes, while she's in Australia, to Bondi Beach, where just months ago, all these Jewish Aussies were killed. And she gets the crowds to follow her. And look at this brilliant woman who refuses to move off of her. Look at her. She's like, you will move around me, bitch. I love that woman. She speaks for us all. And then after she does this on Bondi Beach, she posted, she's doing something about her outfits, which a lot of celebs do. No, I don't begrudge her posting, this is what I wore and this is where you can buy it. But maybe not while you were visiting a site of a mass shooting. Like, hey, here I am where people died months ago, and this is where you can buy my outfit.
It's tone deaf. It's tone deaf, but it's not surprising. They have nobody around them telling them and helping them. And that's not by accident. They get fired. Anybody who works with them, I know people who have worked with them, and they were really difficult. And they don't want experts. They want yes people, and now they have them.
Australia didn't want them. The crowds were thin, the press was lukewarm, and the royal magic they were desperately trying to recreate, it never showed up. But here's the part that should worry you. Meghan Markle doesn't see any of that as failure. And that tells you everything about what's coming next. Let's be brutally honest about what happened down under. This wasn't a triumphant global tour by two beloved humanitarians. This was a PR operation, carefully staged, meticulously managed, and ultimately exposed by the one thing you can't fake, public indifference. Rob Shuter, who literally wrote the book on how celebrity spin works, sees right through it, and when someone with his insider knowledge calls this tour thirsty, you need to pay attention. Because thirsty isn't just a word. It's a diagnosis. Meghan Markle is addicted to the idea of global relevance. She doesn't want to do good. She wants to be seen doing good. And there is an enormous difference between those two things. One requires sacrifice. The other requires a camera crew and a well-timed Instagram caption. Australia gave them polite applause, the kind you give to a school play when you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. That's not a fan base. That's pity. Megyn Kelly doesn't mince words, and that's why this conversation matters. While mainstream media was busy running soft-focus puff pieces about Harry and Meghan's important work, Meghan was asking the question nobody else dared to ask. Why are we still pretending this is working? Because it isn't working. The Netflix deal underperformed. The Spotify deal collapsed entirely. The memoir divided the public. And now an international tour designed to reset their image landed with a thud in a country that, frankly, has zero obligation to care about a former British royal and his wife who spent years dismantling the institution that gave them their platform in the first place. Megyn Kelly understands something crucial. Meghan Markle's entire strategy depends on the media playing along. And every time someone refuses to play along, the whole facade cracks just a little bit more. Now here's where this gets genuinely alarming. Despite the poor returns, Rob Shooter is telling us more tours are coming. More countries. More manufactured moments. More carefully choreographed, organic interactions with carefully selected local figures. And you have to ask yourself, why? Because Meghan Markle has a blueprint, and she is absolutely committed to it. The blueprint is this. If you travel to enough countries, photograph yourself enough times with enough causes, eventually the volume of imagery creates the illusion of impact. It's not diplomacy. It's not charity. It's content production with a humanitarian filter slapped on top. Harry, meanwhile, is along for the ride, a man who once had real global goodwill, real public affection, real royal identity, now reduced to carrying his wife's handbag at photo ops in countries that barely know who he is anymore. This isn't a world tour. It's a farewell tour that doesn't know it's a farewell tour. So here's the question I want you to sit with, and I want you to drop your answer in the comments right now. At what point does the world stop showing up? At what point do the cameras stop following? Because every failed tour, every underwhelming crowd, every politely ignored appearance chips away at something that cannot be rebuilt, and that's credibility. Meghan Markle can book as many countries as she wants. But you cannot tour your way into relevance you never truly earned. The next stop is already being planned. But who exactly is it for the world, or just Meghan's ego? Let me know what you think. Drop a comment below.